Picture yourself a teenager with Einstein's knowledge, but only a few months of life experience. That's essentially what we have with today's AI. These large neural networks that inherit vast knowledge, but yet lack the real world grounding and understanding. I'm Magnus Oxenwaldt, and this is Future Bytes, Bits of Transformation. Today, we're going to explore how we build trust with AI systems that are both brilliant and naive. We're doing that in the wake of DeepSeek, this disrupted China's AI model that just made headlines all over the globe, achieving high performance with just a fraction of the traditional cost that we've seen with OpenAI and the other models. So today, it's more important than ever to choose the right AI. So, thinking about the future, think about the analogy of hiring humans, but we're thinking about AI instead of humans. We're hiring AI. This makes it a lot more simpler for you to grasp what you need to think about when we're thinking about choosing whether you want to use DeepSeek or you want to use OpenAI or Anthropic, or there's so many names. There are at least 10 of these vendors now, and there's going to be a lot more the years to come. So think about implying the same thoroughness of selecting AI system as you would be vetting your next CFO. Now, this gives us a lot of interesting questions to ask. Today's vendor selection for AI are vastly different to humans. Humans come into an interview and they say, hopefully, trustworthy things about the questions you ask. But that's not how we're seeing AI systems today. AI systems have a lot of different things to think about in comparison to humans. So let's take the rigorous interview approach by thinking about AI models. Think about your organization's last hire and the reference checks you're doing. Is this the correct CFO that you're hiring? You might even use probation periods in the end. And why is this important? Well, today, all the news is about DeepSeek. It's in China, yes, but does it really matter? Isn't it best to use the best person in your job to do your work? In the same way, we're thinking about hiring a new CFO? No. Here's where it gets really important to understand this analogy perfectly. The selection we're doing for AI are very similar to the human selection, but it has a small caveat. It's not human. So, what is human about AI models? Well, the humans that built the models, the humans that trained the models, the data that went into the model. And this can all be in analogies with whatever we're thinking about when we're hiring someone. So let's hire DeepSeek, or let's hire OpenAI, or let's hire Anthropic for that matter. When we're hiring Elon Musk's models, we can be certain it's outspoken. Why? Because his model, Grok, is outspoken. When we're hiring DeepSeek, we can be certain, given it's from CCP, China's model, it will probably not have all the data about historic events that China doesn't want to talk about. When we're hiring OpenAI, we're getting an American model. Is that really what we want for our business? No. What we eventually want is unique models for our business. We want to have the ability for these models to be in line with our brand values, with our moral and ethics. So not only do we need to understand what we can get from these models, we need to understand how we can adjust these models. We can think about these models as teenagers compared to the humans, adult that we would hire. Teenagers might be excellent in certain areas, but don't have the life experience to make the right decisions in certain scenarios. We need to do that for them as parents. So just like choosing an AI system, we need to be the adults. We need to choose the right AI systems and employ the company specific thought or brand model and company specific policies in order for these models to work. Now, if we're just looking at DeepSeek in comparison to the other models, it is a breakthrough for sure. It's a fantastic model and it's open source, which means we can use it anywhere. We don't need to use it in China. I personally use DeepSeek for a lot of things. I use it for um, uh, reasoning. I use it for some coding, but it's not covering everything. And it will never be in that scenario where I have one model or one AI doing everything for me. In the same manner, I won't hire a person that does everything for me in my organization. We will have a lot of these AI models that do unique things, specific things. Some are experts in coding, some are expert in finance. What DeepSeek does, though, it does all this very cheaply. It's changed the balance on what we think about who can deliver these types of models. It's not just US. In the past, before this DeepSeek moment, predominantly of all the development out from AI came from North America. Today, the balance has shifted. This changed how we saw on the economic side of all the investments of for example Nvidia stock plummeted in the wake of these news, which was obviously a lot. It was premature. It shouldn't have happened. I think it should be on the contrary. The more technology, the cheaper the technology, the more hardware we would need because it opens up for new use cases. If more people get access to this, more people will need the hardware to run these models, regardless whether it's DeepSeek or OpenAI. So I'm a bit confused. The Nvidia stock should have gone the other direction. A lot more people will actually buy this hardware because they're able to run these models. Now, if we're in front of three candidates that we want to hire, and we're comparing DeepSeek with OpenAI, and maybe we can throw in Grok, which is the XAI, Elon Musk's model. Let's say we have these three persons or AIs at our interview. Now, DeepSeek is open source. I can change that. So I get that model into my company. I can then change that into whatever I need inside my company fairly easy. I can also decide where that AI model is operating. It can operate within my domain, in my data centers. So I don't need to send data outside my enterprise. Now with OpenAI, there are alternatives. You can use it within the Microsoft domain, and hence that it's somewhat safer than just sending it to OpenAI for those who are in enterprises where Microsoft is running their ecosystem. For Grok, It's an API. It is also um, sending data to someone else, and your data becomes them to use in other ways that might not fit your policies or ideas. So which one would I choose? Well, I would choose out from a few criterias. I would choose the model that does the job best. I would choose the model that has safety in mind, but that is not my key concern. My key concern is the training data. It's how they've been trained, how they think about things, how they're reasoning about things. We know that DeepSeek are censored heavily. We know that all models are censored. For me, not being able to see what it's been trained on is a problem. It's almost like using a person who wouldn't say where they went to school or what they trained on before they're joining our My Business. Today's leading suppliers include not only these three, they include also Google and Meta and Anthropic, and there will probably be 10 more in 2 years' time. But for me, model transparency, regardless of these vendors, is really, really important. And that is a big problem. I think DeepSeek is pushing the balance on open source. So more and more people are forced to be more transparent. I think that's a really good thing. Oddly, coming from China, who has a history of going in the obvious direction or the opposite direction. The other thing is bias. Bias is really important. Um, OpenAI's model has been trained in a way where initially they were just horrible to work with. They were very, very biased. They've been working hard to get away from that. I think the best model out there today, fitting my bias patterns, are are the Claude model from um, Anthropic. Now, so how do we build trust and choose the right systems? Well, we have the interview. We're asking the right questions. What data have been trained on, and so forth. But do we then dare to integrate it just immediately? No. We're integrating it slowly but surely. We're integrated in areas within your business that is safe to use it at first. And then we see how it works. Very similar to a human being. You don't give somebody on the first day at the work access to everything and just um, uh, the ability to change everything day one. You expect them to learn the ropes first, right? You do the same with AI systems. You monitor that progress. Are they doing well? And then evaluate and eventually, when they come to a place where you're feeling comfortable, you gradually increase their task assignment in other areas. It's like teaching someone to drive, right? You just don't let them drive off onto the highway the first thing they do. You start in an empty parking lot. Um, so during this initial assessment, you can do assessment for the capabilities. Don't trust the benchmarks out there. You need to test yourself. DeepSeek is very, very good at what it does, and so is OpenAI's models and all the others. And the marketing around this is in a way where they're choosing the benchmarks to promote their model. So bench the DeepSeek model isn't best at everything. I would never use DeepSeek to write my documentation as of today. It simply doesn't work. It doesn't fit my pattern of writing, and then even with custom instructions, it doesn't give me the result. I would never use it for sourcing information. Being grounded in data from training where it explicitly removed historical events or wanting to describe information in a particular way that suits the CCP is not my intention of how I want to write things, right? So I can use DeepSeek in combination with other models in the same way we're building teams in companies. But here's the kicker: all these models are just a step in one direction. The idea is for them to become AGI, and with AGI, they are grown-ups. But any grown know that previous information, previous training, their childhood actually affects whatever they decide in the future. It's not like we're a completely new person just because we grow up. And the same is with this AI model. They will still have data from the original data set, most likely. So um, these trainings, these patterns of behavior, these biases will also um, formulate or influence is what I mean, the future of AGI. So do I want a specific AGI in the future to actually avoid talking about the political events in China? No, I want a transparent model, but that's for me. I think the future will hold where we will have personal models, not like one DeepSeek model that a lot of people use, but a DeepSeek slash Magnus model. Like you have multiple models as foundational models, but you build your own model. So when you're getting hired, for example, for a job, you together with a model is the combination or the hybrid team they're actually hiring. Some model that actually is built just for me. And the same is with companies. Domain specific, yes, there will be domain specific models, but there will be company specific models as well. So thinking about the future consideration in the wake of everything that's happening with DeepSeek. Yes, DeepSeek shocked the world that it was possible to build this very strong model with fraction of the cost that OpenAI built it. But it's not going to be you know the one pivotal moment that changed everything. It's just one breakthrough out of many, and that is important to understand. It's not like we're changing and we cannot go back. It's just one step in the direction of AGI. So for today, I might be using a DeepSeek for some local uh, reasoning tasks on my computer. I might be using it together with Perplexity, which is a fantastic tool to do research on the internet, which is AI based. But tomorrow, I might be using something completely different. So that is what you need to expect. My philosophy on integrating any of these models, despite the hype, is in the end by keeping myself in the loop and making sure that everything that we are producing is owned by ourselves. So with that said, think of it of choosing multiple people for similar tasks in the same way we're choosing multiple AI models for the same task. And then it's up to you to filter the result out from all these models into whatever you want to um, um, use for your business. DeepSeek will not um, be the only DeepSeek moment, if we call it like that. There will be maybe every other month a new DeepSeek moment, and there will be a lot more breakthroughs coming soon. So looking ahead, We need to build a framework where we can build trust for development in AI, AI working in team with humans. We need frameworks to do this, similar to hiring people. I think the analogy with hiring people is phenomenal. So think about that when you're thinking about choosing models for the future. Don't think that you're using these models for a long period of time. Be prepared to change these models fairly quickly and fairly soon. Um, right. Time flies, and we need to sum this up. While DeepSeek is super powerful, the key takeaway from today, it's not one size fits all solution. It's because this single model doesn't do everything perfectly. Open weights for these models is fantastic, but it's a closed data set. The DeepSeek won't give away what data has been used for the training. Think about these current models as AI children growing up into future AGI teenagers and eventually adults. Early training patterns in these models might lead to unexpected behaviors in the future. Really important. So, what you need to look for is transparency in any model that you see, and focus on the quality of what they do, not the media and the hype. I'm looking forward where to a future where DeepSeek represents just one breakthrough on our journey towards AGI and eventually ASI. Its important lies not in the technology achievement, even though it's a breakthrough, but it's showing that AI development is becoming more accessible to the broader range of players, not only US. Thank you for listening. If you managed to listen all this way through the podcast, this is Magnus Oxenwaldt, and I'm reminding you that building trust in AI requires careful thought as building a strong team. As we continue to integrate to these new technologies, remember to evaluate them rigorously as you would new with a new hire. And don't forget to send your thoughts or questions. There will be information in the description below.